I wanted to share with you the biggest digital nomad lifestyle mistake that I made and how you can do much better than me. This story dates back to the year of 2014 when I was living in Vietnam, and it was a time when I started to make my first big money. And as you can probably guess, whenever you make the first big money, you also make mistakes. It's an unavoidable scenario that happens to more digital nomads and entrepreneurs than you would care to admit. It happens to most of us, some more extreme than others, and it happened to me. And it was during a time when I started to really prosper in my CPA marketing business. CPA stands for cost per action marketing, which is a form of affiliate marketing where you get compensated for every action that you generate for the advertiser. It was a very popular business model back then. I'm actually still pursuing this business model right now. I'm still earning money from it. And back then, it was a really great time because I started to make a ton of money. And you can guess what it's like living in Asia while you're making a ton of money. Well, there is a lot of distractions. You know, there's a lot of things you can do because you have much greater purchasing power than you have back home. That's one of the pros. And also it's a more conducive environment to spending money because life is more enjoyable in the Far East. You know, you can go out there, you can take beach vacations pretty much any time of the year. It's super easy to do. You know, you can spend money just like that. Now, what happened was that I started to make a ton of money, right? I started to make like $500 to $4,000 a day. And that's big money. If that's profit, like 60 to 70% of that was profit, sometimes even more than that. And that is big money, right? If you start to make this kind of money and you see all of a sudden what's possible and that you can finally live the life that you have envisioned for so long, it's very easy to get sidetracked and stop focusing on your work and start doing other things that are not really adding more money to the bottom line of your business. That's what I ended up doing. So I had an assistant, which was my girlfriend back then. She helped me to run these CPA marketing campaigns. We started to make a ton of money and we felt like it was really time for us to enjoy life because we had worked so hard, so long, and so tediously to make this money that we really felt entitled to go out there and spend it. The only problem with this mentality is that you just can't know how long it will last. It may last for a couple of weeks, couple months, maybe a couple of years if you are lucky, but it may only last for a short period of time. And if that's the case, then what is the right thing to do? The right thing to do is to preserve capital because in business, you know, you have good runs, you have bad runs, and you want to make sure you have enough money saved up to cover the bad runs, the times when you have to rebuild, when you have to, you know, construct a new business, and that requires you to live off of your savings. And if you don't have savings and you need to build a business again, how are you going to do that? Well, you need some sort of income that helps you to live until you have more money coming in again. That is something that I didn't understand. It's not that I ever went broke. In fact, I didn't. I went close to it. I mean, I lost a decent chunk of my net worth, you know, after this period, but I didn't go broke. But I've learned my lesson. So what I should have done instead is actually very simple. And what you want to do, you know, whenever you start to make your first big money, you know, okay, go out there, celebrate, you know, spend a little bit of money on something that you always wanted, because at the end of the day, money is a reward. You know, the money itself doesn't have any value until it's realized into something tangible. So if you go out there and, you know, you want to go on a vacation that you always wanted to, that's fine. Or maybe, you know, you want to buy yourself a car, but you got to be careful because that is not an asset, it's a liability, right? So if you spend the whole money that you've earned, that you've worked for years or half a year or a year just to buy a very fancy car, is that really worth it? The answer is probably not. So you have to be careful, right? The reward should always be just a fraction of your total income. You know, it should never be 100% because again, you want to have something back there. You want to have savings. You want to have reserves. Very important. So if I could do it all over again, I would just maybe go on one trip, really reward myself. I'd go to the Maldives, you know, stay in a really nice hotel and just get a little bit of life going, you know, just live a little bit. That's important too. You can't just work and work and work like for years and years and years and never reward yourself. That's wrong too. But there has to be a good balance. There has to be a fine balance. You really have to do that. And so what I would do, I would not spend most of what I have earned like I did at that time, you know, like I was going for massages every day. 60-minute massages, 2-hour massages. I would go every single day because I felt entitled. You know, I felt like it's time for me to let loose, to really relax and just enjoy the good life. And that's what I did actually for a very long time, because I had good income. And even after, you know, that income dried up, I was still doing that because I created that habit and it was very difficult to break. That's another problem, right? When you create this lifestyle, it's very difficult to downgrade because, you know, you're living it, and changing a habit usually, or most of the times, if not always, requires you to really consciously focus on it and really tell yourself why you need to change it, because, you know, otherwise it's just a continuous habit that depletes your bankroll more and more day by day. And you want to avoid this for all costs. That is really, really important, right? The habit, just watch your habits. You know, if it's just an occasional thing, if you do it like once a week, maybe twice a week, right? But don't exaggerate. Don't do it on a daily basis. You don't want to hurt your finances. You don't want to do that. So really be mindful, have a plan, you know, maybe even come up with some kind of spending plan whenever you get to this goal that you're going to spend only this much money. Because when you have this plan in mind, you consciously know that you agreed to this prior to making the money. So you're less likely to spend more than what you have agreed on. And if you have a partner, if you have a girlfriend or a wife, sit down together, talk about it, crunch some numbers, and then stick to it. What's the worst mistake that you have ever made during your digital nomad journey? Leave a comment below and let us know. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. I'm uploading new videos on digital nomad locations, travel updates, visas, crypto advice, and business advice several times a week right now. I highly recommend that you grab a free copy of my ebook, Nomad Elite, the Insider's Guide to Retaining a Life of Freedom. All you need to do is click on the link below the video. And if you got some more time left, check out these videos. Thank you for watching.